Welcome back to Saul's Rhythms podcast, where sound becomes story and emotions takes the lead. I'm Saul L, and this episode 2. Today we're diving into two of the most recent beats I released, Aftermath and Burden. These tracks aren't just instrumentals, not to me. They're emotional snapshots in a way. Pieces of how I've been feeling lately and what I've been carrying and what I've been letting go. We'll also break down my thoughts process when I create and how I bend music theory and why I use restraint in my structure and what it means to build something with depth, not just noise. Before we jump in, if this podcast has ever made you feel something, if one of my beats stuck with you, share the show, post it, send it to friends, or just let someone know you're not alone in what they're feeling. And feel free to comment. And that's what Saul's Rhythms is all about. And give it a like, and yeah, let's get into it. So, welcome to the podcast. Let's talk about Aftermath. This beat carries a heavy emotional tension, not through volume or chaos, but through subtle pressure. It opens with the soft ambient stretch that sets a cinematic tone right away. And then the snare, the hi-hats slide in, not aggressively, but with control. They're the crisp, but they don't dominate the mix. That is to support the emotion, not distract from it. The energy in Aftermath is uneasy on purpose. This isn't a beat that resolves or comforts. It lingers in the moments right after something big has happened. That's the point of Aftermath. It's like a tense beat, and you're not reacting anymore. You're feeling. The ambient textures give it this sense of stillness, but rhythm underneath keeps you aware. You know what I mean? And like your mind won't fully settle, and that's something I love doing with my beats. I don't want it to be drums and kick and snare and just have that consistently going on. I like to change it up just to give that tension, that feel. And what I really focused on with this one was making sure every layer was intentional. Nothing was added just to fill space, if you know what I mean by that. The atmosphere is doing the storytelling. You're not supposed to feel calm. You're supposed to feel like you're sitting in the weight of something you don't fully understand yet. That's where the name Aftermath came from. It's a track about walking through pressure, through the silence after impact, and that silence, that's controlled tension. It's where the real emotion depth lives. Aftermath was a fun one. It was different. I mean, like, has had, of course, my intro verse into the bridge. And the bridge changes up a little bit. I have some brass that comes in. This kind of sounds like a cello mixed in with a violin, but it's a brass. And I thought it was awesome, and in how, excuse me, how I went about that with that beat. And then I have some sub kick in it, getting away from the kick and being a sub kick and some vocals, and yeah, it was a fun one to make, and it's a 10 speed for sure, and it's a good one, and I hope people enjoy it and keep listening to it. Now, on to the next beat. It's called Burden. This beat starts with the vocal sample that was Emotional Seed. The second I heard it, I felt something. There was pain in it, but also beauty. And I don't want to drown that feeling out with heavy instrumentals. I wanted to build around it to protect that emotion while still letting it breathe. And letting a instrument breathe is very important in cinematic. It does communicate your main rhythm to a beat. So I brought in minimal elements at first, a kick to anchor it, a snare, and a hi-hat to give it motion without rushing the mood. There's weight in Burden, but it's not chaotic. It's like internal. Like someone carrying something they haven't said out loud. Then comes the bridge, and that's where the emotional shift happens. I didn't want to completely switch up the beat, just pivot it. I wanted to express that moment where pain turns into reflection. It's subtle, but meaningful. So like, Burden is just one of those beats that's more about what's not said. It's about restraint. Letting that sadness sit there without fixing it. And that's what makes this one personal for me. Because like in the verse, it has like a piano, some ambient noises in it, with a snare and a kick. And then here comes the riser, goes into the bridge, and I switch up the piano sound, and then the vocals come in, then the snare pattern changes, and then in the background you can hear it, but it's not like loud. It's like electric guitar consistently going off, and I made those instruments, and I came up with those. And it's like, this is a great idea. I'm going with this. Because it carried that weight. Then through the bridge, then the hi-hat comes in. It's like a fast hi-hat. And I thought it was a great idea. Because it's, I don't know, it just carried that emotion, but like fast-paced feel. But like, it's not a fast beat. And I just thought it was a great idea. And yeah, and that's Burden. And Burden's definitely one of my top 3 favorite beats I've made so far. It's very deep, and it's very seductive in a way too, and it's interesting to me how I came up with that one. I built around it before I even did anything else. I built the bridge first with the vocals built around it, then I did the verse, then intro. Sometimes I like to start with the intro in the beginning, but this time I start with the bridge, because that's the most important climax of the beat to me. So yeah, that's Burden. That one was a fun one. And now moving on to the next thing I want to talk about, my process and purpose. So When I sit down to create, I'm not chasing trends. I'm chasing truth. I'm not thinking about what's hot right now. I'm not thinking about what needs to be felt. That's how I approach every beat I make. A lot of producers focus on what gets clicks. Fast drums, loud bass, hooks that hit in 10 seconds. And that works for them. I mean, if that's not what they like, then cool. But that's not me. I care about longevity, about making something you can still feel months or even years after. My beats are emotional, slow burns. They don't just want attention, they want connection. And that's what I chase when I make my beats. And so I've realized I'm not just making background music, I'm crafting a scene, a mood, a moment, a world. I want every listener to feel like they've stepped into something personal. And to do that, I have to get personal too. And that's why I do 90% of the instruments myself. I build them by scratch. Sometimes it's 100%, but sometimes I like to take a vocal or something because yeah, I mean, I just love vocals and I build from the ground up. Ambient layers, keys, drums, strings, the snare, the kick, the hi-hat, violin, cello, all of that stuff. I all shaped with intention. And when I do use something from, I don't know, from like a library or a sample loop, like a vocal or one shot, it's not to take a shortcut. It's to serve a bigger story. And here's the thing. I don't just follow music theory. I bend it. Not to be rebellious, of course, but because I want to reflect how real emotion feels. Emotions don't always resolve the way a perfect chord progression does. Sometimes they hang, sometimes they pull you somewhere uncomfortable. I know the chord progressions. It's just I like bending it. And then I can just bend it to my will and do what I want and still not break the theory. And I let that shape up in my structure and how I transition, where I place tension, and where I break the pattern. I'm not afraid of dissidence. I'm not afraid to let a beat breathe longer than most producers would. I'm not afraid to cut the drums if the emotion needs silence. That's the difference between building a beat and building a feeling. Take Aftermath, for example. That beat does have a snare and hi-hat, but they're not in your face. They're controlled, intentional. I didn't overdo it because the tension is already baked into the atmosphere. The beat isn't loud or aggressive, but it's not calm either. It sits right in that uneasy space. It's that kind of track that makes you hold your breath like something big happened and you're still feeling the pressure of it. That slow burn. That emotional weight. That's the core of Aftermath. The snare and hi-hat are there to carry the moment, not overpower it. Every sound in that beat is doing a job, and that job is to keep you in that tense cinematic state, like you're walking through the fallout of something you can't fully explain. Same goes for Burden. That vocal I found, I didn't want to just drop it in and leave it as is. I didn't want to be a background noise, and I shaped the beat around it. I let it lead the structure. I wanted to be the lead. That's what I mean by emotional storytelling. It's not about showing off. It's not about serving the soul of the sound. It's about serving the soul of the sound, and I use about 100% or 90% of my own instruments in each track, and sometimes I pull a single loop or a vocal, but I built everything else from scratch: keys, drums, strings, ambient textures, hi-hat, snare, kick, etc. All of it layered intentionally. So yeah, that's how I go about it all. And yeah, so next thing I want to talk about is finding my lane. And the more I grow as a producer, the more I realize this. I don't need to fit into anyone else's lane. I got my own. And I'm not here to chase cloud or trends. I'm here to build something real. Cinematic hip-hop isn't just a style for me. It's a language and a form of expression that lets me speak without shouting. And it lets me tell stories through tension, atmosphere, pacing, and restraint. That kind of storytelling it's rare in the music industry, and I know it's not for everyone. And some people want instant drops, loud mixes, or beats that made for quick consumption. And that's cool. But my beats, they take their time. They sit in silence. They unfold with purpose. That they're not built for everyone. And honestly, that's okay. I mean, everyone has their own taste, and that's all good. And my beats they're built for the ones who feel deeply, and the ones who get it and really get it, and that's what I'm here for. I've only been selling beats for 4 months, not even a half a year, and but I've already feel a shift, and I've found my sound, I've built my system, but more importantly, I've found my way. This isn't about making noise. It's about making meaning. This isn't about algorithms. It's about alignment. And this isn't just a hustle. Not anymore. I mean, it's purpose now to me, and there's a reason why I keep creating even after 18-hour days. Well, not 18-hour days. I mean, that's exaggerating. More like 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to maybe 13-hour days. A reason I still get in the studio when I've been up since 2 a.m. I'm not fueled by hype anymore. I'm fueled by mission. And yeah, on the weekends I usually spend a lot of my time making beats. I usually stay up around 2 a.m. on the weekends. I should probably just said that better. But like on the weekdays, I usually wake up at 2 a.m., sometimes 3 a.m. for my job. But on the weekends, I usually stay up really late to make my beats. And I'm not fueled by like hype anymore. I'm mostly fueled by my mission. I know what I'm building, even if others don't see it yet. And that's completely okay. You know what I mean? It's fine. Because real progress often happens in silence, in isolation. And I'd rather be consistent than loud. I'd rather be timeless than trendy. Where you're an artist looking for a right sound, a filmmaker searching for emotion, depth, or something going through something who needs a beat to sit with. I hope you find something here, and because if something I made hits your heart, even just for a second, then this is already bigger than me. And yeah, and music is it's it's a beautiful thing to me. Music's just beautiful, and so yeah, this is Saul's Rhythms, and I'm just getting started, and I'll be back next Sunday, and you all have a great one. See you next time.